Hey guys, welcome back to the Music Mindset channel. We got a doozy for you tonight, man. We're going to be talking about one of the greatest bass players to ever pick up the instrument. Now, when we think of bass players, we think of people like Stanley Clarke, Marcus Miller, Victor Wooten, Charles Mingus. Those are the great ones you think of right off the top. But there's one bass player that kind of sets himself aside from all of those people. And you probably heard of him, but if you haven't, it's Jaco Pastorius. Jaco, man, what a player he was. We lost him a few years back. And I want to get into his story, learn a little bit more about him, and hopefully you can learn something about him too. First, I'm going to let V-Man jump in to tell us a little bit about him. I want you to hang around. This is going to be kind of in-depth about Jaco, and I think it will be interesting. So hang on a second. Let Mr. V-Man introduce you to him.
Yeah, Mr. Mindset. When it comes to famous and incredible bass players, it's simply Jaco. Sir Jaco Pastorius was a groundbreaking American jazz bassist born on December 1st, 1951 in Norristown, Pennsylvania. He revolutionized the way the bass guitar was played and was known as the king of the fretless bass guitar and had a profound impact on the world of jazz and music in general. Jaco's early life was marked by a deep passion for music. He started playing the drums at an early age, but switched to the bass guitar after a football injury affected his ability to play the drums. Jaco was largely self-taught and had an unconventional approach to playing the bass, often experimenting with harmonics and innovative techniques. His breakthrough came when he joined the jazz fusion band Weather Report in 1976. Jaco's virtuosic and melodic bass lines became a defining element of the band's sound. He contributed significantly to albums like Black Market and Heavy Weather, which featured the iconic composition Birdland. Jaco Pastorius also embarked on a successful solo career, releasing his self-titled debut album in 1976. The album showcased his remarkable skills as a composer, bandleader, and soloist. The track, Portrait of Tracy, is particularly notable for its pioneering and melodic bass work. Yet, despite his musical success, Jaco struggled with personal issues, including mental health and substance abuse problems. His erratic behavior led to difficulties in his professional and personal life. Tragically, on September 21st in 1987, Jaco Pastorius died at the age of 35 after a violent altercation with a bouncer at a club in Florida. The exact cause of his death was injuries sustained during the altercation, which exacerbated his existing health problems. Jaco's influence extended beyond the world of jazz, impacting musicians across various genres. His legacy is especially evident in the fusion and jazz rock genres, and his contributions to the bass guitar's role in modern music are widely recognized. Now, Pastorius worked with the group Blood, Sweat, and Tears, people like Joni Mitchell and Herbie Hancock, among many others. But one of the most notable collaborations in Jaco Pastorius' career was with guitarist Pat Metheny. The two musicians worked together on the album Bright Side's Life in 1976, which also featured drummer Bob Moses. This collaboration showcased the fusion of Pastorius' inventive bass playing with Metheny's guitar work, creating a unique and influential sound. Now back to you, Mr. Mindset.
Yeah, man, what a sad story, or at least a sad ending to a great musician's life and career. We'll never have anybody like that again, I don't think. I mean, he was in a category of all his own. But what I want to do right now is get into Jaco speaking for himself. Some advice Jaco wanted to give. Check it out.
Any advice to musicians, young and old, new beginners?
Just keep your minds open, keep a open head about music. I grew up in Florida where there was no real musical prejudice. There was all sorts of music. Everybody was playing everything from Cuban music to symphonic music, everything. Whatever you wanted to hear, you could hear it. Like in New York, And when I first came to New York, it's like everybody just wanted to play jazz. They didn't know about rock and roll. They didn't know about funk.
Yeah.
They didn't know about nothing. All they wanted to do was
Yeah.
jazz. Now New York is cool. They're playing everything.
Everything.
But I grew up in Florida, and everything was hip. So I was fortunate enough to be exposed and be able to play with all different types of musicians. And, you know, I played in a country band for a year. I had a ball. You know, I love country and western, too. If it's good, I dig it. Whatever it is. Just to keep an open mind about everything.
Yeah.
That's about my only advice. And keep listening.
So you can hear Jaco's a little country now. You can hear it in his voice a little bit. I always thought that he was more Latin because he looks a little bit more Latin, but he was a was that Midwestern boy, I think it was, or somewhere up there. And I never knew what he sounded like until now. Now I want to talk about Pat Metheny. And Pat Metheny played with him on that Bright Size Life, man. I listened to that thing. I got that. I go to sleep off of it sometimes at night. And that's a great song, a great album that Jaco played on. And I just want you to hear what Pat had to say about his friend.
You know, it's always hard for me to talk about Jaco, you know, the way everybody else talks about him, because he was, in fact, you know, one of my very best friends for a number of years. There was a point where Jaco's lifestyle radically changed, and it was quite different from the lifestyle that I had before then, and that Jaco had before then even, and that I continue to have. But at the same time, Jaco's story is incredibly complex, and it's now, thanks to a really bad book that was written a few years ago about Jaco, it's mutated into this sort of mythology that's something like what the Charlie Parker story is, of this genius musician, and that's, you know, his life went bad at the end, and da-da-da-da-da-da. I resist the attempts to reduce it to mythology, because he was a guy for me. He was an important figure in my life. Also, I always feel like it's important to just quickly add, Jaco didn't just die, he was murdered, and he kind of ran into a guy who was a jerk who killed him, you know. And I mean, there's all this tragic stuff surrounding Jaco, and there were aspects of his life that were tragic, but I mean, I don't think the guy had a death wish, you know. I think that he was in the wrong place at the wrong time doing the wrong thing, but I'm sure that he didn't have any intention of leaving town. So that's sort of the fundamental problem that I have with the Jaco mythology scheme, you know, is that, and I'm sure it's only going to get more and more that way because he was such an exceptional musician. It's just that my view of him, it sort of doesn't include all that mythology. It's a much more of a human one, a human story.
Yeah, man, you heard from the great one, Pat Metheny. What a great musician, man. We're going to be doing something on him the week of the 18th coming up, so make sure you tune in for that. But, man, that was a great trio that they had together, him and Jaco. One of the other things that people didn't know, that Jaco was actually married between the years of 1979 and 85, and he had his wife. His wife was named Ingrid, who was a native of Indonesia, and they had 3 children, John, Mary, and Felix Pastorius. The sad thing is, in 2011, she passed away also, pretty much bringing an end to the Pastorius legacy, except for his children. And I hope they're doing well. Now, one of the other things I want to tell you before I go is that a lot of people love Jaco, especially down here in South Florida. In Oakland Park, they opened up a memorial park, the Jaco Pastorius Memorial Park. And as you look at it right now, you can see there's a mural that they put up for him. I mean, they had a lot of respect for him. He ran the streets down here in South Florida, Miami and Fort Lauderdale and those type of areas. Unfortunately, he ran into the wrong person, as V-Man was telling you about, at a club. I think it was Club Midnight or something like that. I don't think that's no longer in business. But there was, you can look that story up, man. There's a lot of chaos involved in that thing. But I just wanted to bring you Jaco in his pure form to get to know him a little bit better. He's a great bassist. Did a lot of songs. I'm not playing a lot of them tonight. You can look those up yourself. Check them out. The fingers on that guy and the stuff that he was playing on that bass guitar is incredible. That's the king of the fretless bass guitar. Now, I hope you like what we're doing on this channel, and we'll be back in the future real soon with something new that's going to give you some information we hope you enjoy and you find interesting. So I'm asking you to come back to the Music Mindset channel. Make sure you're liking the videos, commenting, sharing the videos, whatever you need to do. Support the channel so I can keep growing. I appreciate you all as usual. See you again on the Music Mindset channel.